Rune Son Rogan Shatterstone opened his eyes to a blinding light. Its rays feeling as if they were trying to burn through his pupils and blind him. It was only as some time passed that he realized that the light itself was rather dim. It was only his pounding headache that seemed to enhance it. Grasping his head and slowly standing up, Rogan tried to force some recent memories to come to the surface. Past the twisted pain that was slowly receding from his mind. He remembered being on the outskirts of the Cindercone Lodge on the orders of his rune father, to scout out the area for any signs of threats with his complement of Hearthguard and other warriors of his clan. And although he saw no conventional enemies, he was attacked by one that no Fireslayer could have possibly stopped in time. In barely an instant, the ground beneath him had given way, dropping him and his salamander mount Didetongue into the darkness below. The creature's giant claws grasped at the air in vain, roaring out in frustration, along with Rogan himself. Looking up, Rogan saw the slowly shrinking form of his Hearthguard staring down in shock, their charge falling far from their grasp. From there was memories of pain, darkness, and eventually a burning light that Rogan's eyes were slowly becoming accustomed to. A quick inventory showed his equipment and weapons were still in hand. However, as for his mount, there was no sign. Any word for Didetongue went to the wayside, however, when Rogan heard the sound of a blade slicing through flesh, a sound that was a short walk away down a small rock-walled passage, lit by traces of bioluminescent fungus. Grasping his axe, Rogan followed the passage towards the sound. Turning a corner, Rogan saw a sight that made his blood burn. Crouched, with its back to Rogan, was an ogre of large size and tanned, almost burnt skin. Naked, except for a ragged loincloth loosely wrapped around its waist. Its skin was covered in crude, but still striking tattoos. The tattoos glowing red with power, and almost seeming to be moving on their own. Holding a knife that in the hands of any other race would have been a rather large sword, it hummed to itself as it went about its work. And it was the work that raised Rogan's anger. The knife was carving into flesh. The flesh of his now dead mount Didetongue. A loyal beast that had been with him since he was a babe. As Rogan readied his axe to avenge his friend, the Ogor spoke, its hand continuing its work.
I thank you for being Gorker Morker's messenger, Duardin. I have sat here for a long time, waiting for a sign, but I did not think it would be as bountiful as the flesh of a salamander. This will keep me in communion with my god for months.
If the Ogre expected Rogan to answer, he would be disappointed. The words only enhanced Rogan's anger, turning it from a freshly stoked loathing to a burning rage that turned his vision red. Screaming a battle cry, Rogan charged, aiming to split the Ogre in twain. As Rogan neared, the Ogre quickly turned around and opened his mouth. Rogan expected a bestial roar. Instead, he got a torrent of flame. The fires leaving the Ogre's mouth with such force, it blasted Rogan from his feet and slammed him against a wall. His skin burnt to a crisp and racked with pain. Rogan tried to stand. As a fire slayer, flames should hold no fear for him, at least in the short term, but the flames that spewed from the Ogre was not natural. It was tinged with the power of its destructive god. Before Rogan could fully stand, he felt a hand wrap itself around his throat and raise him, still pinned against the wall, a few feet off the ground. Through his one good eye, Rogan saw the smiling face of the Ogre, licks of flame coming through its smiling maw.
Let me honor you, Duardin, by putting you in my belly. Your flesh will help enhance my fires. Sadly, though, it seems you're not quite ready. You see, I like my meat well done.
With that, the Ogre opened its jaws wide, and Rogan's final moments was a bright flash of fire and pain. It is said that in the age of myth, Gorker Morka, god of Uroks, Grots, and Ogors, once walked amongst the realms. As is proper for a god of his power, he spent his time destroying things for his amusement and fighting for fighting's sake. It was during one of these joyful fights that the sun had the audacity to set, to prematurely end his fun by casting the realm in darkness. Angry, Gorka Morka grasped the sun and, not knowing what to do with it, decided to eat a chunk of it. To his surprise and joy, he learned doing so gave him the ability to breathe plumes of fire. This is the legend of the Sun Eater. and the Ogors of the Firebellies clan take this story as truth. Armed with basalt hammers and ironclad stomachs, the Firebellies roam the realms, searching them for flame-blessed creatures and volatile chemicals to add to their bellies. The reactions forming torrents of flame that bring them closer to their god. Their ultimate wish is to mimic the story of the Sun Eater, to find a realm with the sun close enough to snag, and take a small piece to consume for themselves. Although whether a mortal Ogor will have the same reaction as a god is something that needs to be seen. To be a Firebelly is to have a constant and violent rumble in your belly, to destroy your enemies with both massive hammer and scorching flame. Hey guys, this is Arvandus, and I hope you enjoyed this video on the Ogor Firebellies. If you like it, please like, subscribe, and comment, and if you really like it, consider giving to my Patreon. With the extra money gives you the time I need to work on these stories that I love. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.